You get bitten by a mosquito and you barely notice. But for most of human history, a bite from the wrong creature meant something else entirely. It meant your blood might stop clotting. It meant your muscles might stop working. It meant you had minutes, maybe hours, to find an answer that didn't exist yet. But the real answer is far stranger than you think. Ancient humans didn't understand venom. Not really. They didn't know about proteins or enzymes, or how a single molecule could shut down a nervous system. What they had instead was pattern. Watch enough people get bitten, and you start to notice things. Some plants seemed to help, some didn't. Some rituals calmed the mind, even if they did nothing for the poison. In ancient Greece, a poet named Nicander of Colophon wrote one of the earliest surviving texts on venomous creatures. He described snakebites, scorpion stings, even poisonous plants, and offered remedies. Some were plant extracts, some were closer to superstition. He didn't have a lab, he had observation, repeated over generations, passed down as verse, because verse was easier to remember than prose. Why would anyone trust a poem with their life? Because it was often the only knowledge available. In India, Ayurvedic texts dating back over 2,000 years describe snakebite treatment using a mix of herbs, forced vomiting, and tight bindings above the wound. Some of that binding advice wasn't far off from what modern doctors sometimes still recommend for certain bites, immobilizing the limb to slow the spread, not because they understood lymphatic circulation, they just knew that moving less seemed to help. In parts of Africa, healers used a technique that looks almost unbelievable today. They would cut the wound open further and suck the venom out by mouth. It rarely worked the way they hoped. Venom moves fast through tissue, faster than suction can pull it back. But the ritual gave the bitten person something crucial. It gave them the feeling of being helped, and that feeling mattered more than you'd expect. Here's the strange part. Fear itself can kill you faster than some venoms do. A racing heart pumps venom through your bloodstream quicker. Panic raises your heart rate. So a healer standing over you, calm and confident, chanting or applying a poultice, wasn't just performing theater. They were slowing your heart down. They were buying you time, even if their remedy did nothing chemically at all. Some remedies did work by accident. Certain plants contain compounds that reduce swelling or fight bacteria, which helped with secondary infection even if they couldn't touch the venom itself. Ancient healers couldn't explain why. They just knew which leaf, crushed a certain way, seemed to help more people survive. Then in the late 1800s, everything changed. A French scientist named Albert Calmet, working at the Pasteur Institute, took snake venom and injected it into animals in small controlled doses. Their blood developed antibodies. He extracted that blood serum and used it to treat bite victims. In 1895, he created the first real antivenom. For the first time in the entire span of human history, there was an actual chemical answer. Not a ritual, not a poem, not a prayer, a precise biological countermeasure built from the very thing that caused the harm. Why did it take so long? Because venom doesn't announce its mechanism. It just kills. And until you can see inside the blood, all you have is outcome. Did the person live? Did they die? Ancient healers were running centuries-long trials without knowing it, testing remedies against nothing but survival rates, with no way to isolate what actually worked. Even today, snakebite remains a massive, underfunded problem. The researcher Jean-Philippe Chipot, who has spent decades studying snakebite epidemiology, has pointed out that tens of thousands of people still die from venomous bites every year, mostly in rural regions where antivenom is expensive, scarce, or the wrong type entirely for the local species. In some ways, you're not as far removed from the ancient world as you'd like to think. So what do you actually carry inside you from all of this? Not the plants, not the poems, something quieter, a nervous system that still remembers being prey. That's why a snake shape in the grass, even a coiled garden hose, can spike your heart rate before your conscious mind catches up. Ancient humans built rituals to calm that fear, because the fear itself was dangerous. You still carry that same fear today, wired into the same ancient circuitry, waiting for a threat that, most days, will never come. You get bitten by a mosquito, and you barely notice. But somewhere underneath that calm, your body is still running the oldest program it ever learned. Stay still, stay calm, survive the bite.